Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Eileen, and this is Medicine Walk 2020. And I am going to be opening up our discussion about this year's topic. And this year's topic is going to be empathy, which is why I'm calling 2020 the year of the grounded empath. What we're going to be doing for this entire year is we're going to be breaking apart what it means to be an empath and ways that you can be able to actually not just manage your empathy, but to be able to utilize it anytime you want. So, for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio, and I encourage you to go over to the YouTube channel, and the link is in your description. So if you have any questions or comments, for those of you who are watching the premiere episode of this video, you will have the opportunity to ask me any questions you like. I will be in the chat room. For those of you who are on Blog Talk Radio or who are seeing this video after the premiere, please leave your questions and comments in the sections for comments, and I will address them and I will respond to them in the next video. So, for this first part, it's going to be kind of defining terms. Now, however you define your empathy, ultimately that is up to you. What I would like is for you to consider sort of suspending your views on empathy just enough to where we can kind of give you some different perspectives on it, and those perspectives may resonate with you, and they may not. Ultimately, this is about how you hold empathy and how you want to manage it. I'm just suggesting some shifts in how you look at it that may allow you to be able to reframe how you feel empathy works with you. So, first, the idea that empathy is solely based on emotion, the ability to perceive the emotions of others as if they are your own feeling. And that's an important distinction. It's not just that you're feeling what people feel, is that you feel it as if it is your own feeling. So it will affect you in, if you perceive sadness in someone, it will affect you and your body in the way that sadness would. So if we can look at empathy as something that goes beyond emotion, I know, just kind of hang with me. Consider that emotions are energy. Emotions exist on a frequency that where one emotion is defined from another. Consider the possibility that that is one frequency. Anger would be perceived as a particular frequency as opposed to happiness, as opposed to sadness. If you can consider that all of these emotions exist as an energetic frequency, it doesn't mean that empathy is the ability to perceive and feel emotions as if they are your own feelings. Instead, view empathy as an ability to resonate with a broad spectrum of energetic frequencies that are produced in a person or in their psyche or in their physical and spiritual and mental state. So if you can be willing to view emotions as energy, then what that does is it redefines and immediately shifts empathy just out of, or out of just emotions, but to everything, because everything has an energetic frequency, from people to stones to whatever. Once you realize that your empathy is the ability to resonate, it is the ability to create a harmonic with another form of energy, it opens up empathy not only to experiencing plants, animals, everything, and including the weather, including the environment around you, everything. Then it becomes something that you can train yourself to be able to utilize, to work with, to deepen that resonance and create it as a conscious choice. And really, the whole point of what I want to say, expose people to, is the idea and the concept that once you kind of get a handle on empathy, once you realize that it's about resonating, then you can utilize it when you choose to and shut it off when you don't. It's like any other tool that you would use or any other ability that you would use. Someone may have the ability to be a marathon runner, and they're not always going to be running, but they have that capacity. They have that skill set that they can tap into. And if you can consider empathic resonance as a skill set that you tap into and utilize when you want to, then what it does is it can open up everything to your ability to resonate with it. Energetic healing is, depending on what tradition, I'm a Reiki master, which means the energy moves through you and connects to somebody else. And there is a healing capacity. You connect with universal life force, and that universal life force goes into someone and corrects things that are out of balance within the system. There are other energetic healing traditions. There are many, many energetic healing traditions, but essentially it is the transfer of energy from one person to another. Consider how much more effective that would be if you knew that you could utilize your empathy to be able to increase the resonance that you have with another person. Generally, empathy can be utilized as I practice it. And remember, these are all the things that I've practiced that I utilize on a daily basis. Empathy can be used to receive. Empathy can be used to scan and, see what's going on within someone. And empathy can be used to transmit. Now, out of those three, the one that gets the trickiest, especially on a karmic level and on a sort of, I won't say morality, but sort of heading into that light or shadow aspect, is the ability to transmit. And what that means is, remember, we're talking about empathy as simply the ability to resonate with someone else's energy. And whether that energy is an emotion or whether that energy is a physical condition that they're having, your ability to resonate with that does inherently allow you to be able to transmit. And where, if we're talking about feelings, where empathy is the ability to feel what someone else feels as if it's your own feeling, the transmission of it means that someone else will feel something that you project as if it is their own feeling. And like I said, this goes into a very dicey place, and we will be talking about that, but that's going to be a little bit further down the line, and it is something that we're going to be talking about that because we need to know, the first thing we need to know is just because you can doesn't mean that you should. It does not mean that you have the right. Even if every intention is, it's the best of intentions, we still have to honor autonomy. And so we're going to be also talking about the responsibilities of an empath. Just because you can does not mean you have permission. And, there's utilizing empathy, and specifically from the aspect of resonance, to be able to match the frequency of someone else's state of mind or their emotions or, their physical self. It's resonating with someone is a very cool feeling. There's a physical sensation to it. And when you are able to utilize that, now for me, when I go out, I live in a cabin in the woods. And when I have an opportunity, and every morning when I'm going out and I am, just being in nature, I utilize my empathy to create a connection with the trees and the wind and the soil and the animals and all of that, that you can actually sit and spread out your energetic field and match the frequencies of each and everything that is out there, including, the insects and the soil and everything. That is an amazing feeling. And yes, I will be teaching how to do that. And I'll be sharing, ways that you can attune yourself to things around you. And it's important to be able to find, easy ways to practice that. When utilizing this with people, it is definitely, you need to have some rules. You need to have some guidelines and form agreements, because this isn't something to be used against anyone. I'm not sharing this to allow people to be able to manipulate. That's not what this is for. That's not what this discussion through this coming year is going to be for. What this is for is to give people who are empathic, who feel that they are kind of at the mercy of it. And it really bothers me when people, when they say, well, I can't go to this place or I can't do this particular thing because I'm an empath. It's like, yeah, you're an empath, so shut it off. Find that way of taking more control over it so that it does not control you, where you can go from turmoil to tranquility and be able to bring those together to find a balance point, because in that balance point is your choice. So I decided that, and especially because this is probably going to be a fairly volatile year energetically. There's a lot of transformation happening. There's a lot of shifts happening. And for people to not get sucked into losing themselves, because it's very easy for an empath to lose themselves. You get sucked into the emotions of others. You get sucked into what it is that, other people are thinking. And if you come across a very strong individual with a very strong personality, it's very easy to lose yourself. It's very easy to surrender your autonomy. I do not believe for a second that empathy was given to us in order for us to be less, in order for us to feel less, in order for us to feel like victims to it. Whether you consider it a gift or a curse, that's up to you. You will look at it ultimately and what it means in your life. What I'm suggesting is that you can look at it in a different way. It can be something that allows you to expand your awareness in a way that almost nothing else does. And I know this firsthand. I've been working with this for a very long time. I was an empath before I was born. And, I'll be sharing the story about that. But I responded empathically to an illness my mother had. And I actually have physical evidence that I carry the scars from that. So the idea of, and to what degree your empathy is. Now, there's a lot of people who, there are some people who are tremendously sensitive and others not so much. I believe that empathy exists on a spectrum. Your ability to resonate with other frequencies exists on a spectrum. So you can be able to consider, well, in this situation, do I need empathy level 1? Do I just need to, have a perception of someone just very lightly, maybe to help them with a healing work or whatever? Or do I need empathy level 10? And if so, how long do I need to maintain it? So it does become an ability to kind of discern first whether or not you need empathy at all. Will sympathy be sufficient? Will compassion be sufficient? Or if you do need to engage empathy, then what is it that your goal is? And what is it that you will utilize as your way of knowing, okay, I'm used it enough. and that idea of how much you pry into someone. Because again, this is not about taking away anyone's autonomy. It is not about taking away any other person's free will. Everyone has the right to choose. No one should be manipulated into feeling something that is not theirs. And I have been asked, is there a way to use empathy to make someone fall in love with you? Technically, yes. And the karmic hit that comes from that would be huge. Whether you believe in karma or not, I've seen it, and I've seen it applied. Plus, if you manipulate someone into, feeling something, they're not always going to feel that. And we're going to be talking about how empathy is basically a photograph. It is not a video. It is not a full story. It simply gives you a moment that someone feels something. You could have the calmest person in the world, but if you catch them in a moment when they're angry, your empathy will register, wow, this is an angry person. You're only seeing them in that moment. And yes, there is a way to put those moments together to get a bigger picture. But that takes study. It takes practice. It takes meditations. We'll be talking about meditations that will help you to enhance your empathy. I'm really, really looking forward to this study, and I'm really looking forward to sharing this, because if there's anything that I want people to understand, it's that, like any other skill, once you learn how to utilize it, once you learn how to allow it to create balance, to allow it to be some way to find out more about the world around you, to connect more deeply with the natural world, because empathy is an excellent way to connect more deeply with the natural world. Once you realize that it is all about matching frequencies and resonance or dissonance, then it opens up that you're not just dealing with emotions, which is very limiting, that you have a way to connect to everything, to whatever it is that you want. If you're a healer, it takes your healing to a whole new level. If you study meditation, it takes that. It takes everything that you could possibly do that connects you to the spiritual world, the physical world, the natural world around you, utilizing it as a way to resonate and deepen your connection. You will not believe where this can take you. So, I'm going to be starting next week. We're going to start talking about some of the practical beginning meditations that will be able to assist you to start deepening your ability to resonate. So this is about being able to become comfortable and balanced with your skill. And by the end of this year, you are going to be profoundly more balanced, more grounded, because the idea of grounding, once you take the helplessness out of empathy, it's amazing how easy it is to ground. And in fact, you can actually use your empathy to ground much deeper. So we're going to be going over all of that. And like I said, if you have any questions, please place them in the comments. I will be answering questions. Any question that anybody has, I will be answering them on each week. That, after the week after I get it, I'll go into it and we'll discuss that. If you would like to contact me, you can check in the description. There is my Twitter page, my Facebook page, Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen. And you can also subscribe and make sure that you hit the notification bell, because then you'll be notified as to, whenever I post anything. You can share these videos, and please like the videos if they resonate with you. If you would like to support this channel to a deeper level, there's a link to my Patreon account where for as little as $2 a month, you can be able to access certain perks that are available to those who are contributing to a slightly higher level. So thank you for joining me, and I look forward to this year. I hope it began gently for everyone, and welcome to the Grounded EmPath. So until next time, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you, and take care.